By now, you've all heard of Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0, the latest book published by Mama Jumbo Shrimp. It's more than just another wine book. The fully updated second edition was inspired by students of the Vinitaly International Academy and painstakingly reviewed and revised by an expert panel of certified Italian wine ambassadors from across the globe. The book also includes an edition by Professore Attilio Scienza, Italy's leading vine geneticist. The benchmark producers feature is a particularly important aspect of this revised edition. The selection makes it easier for our readers to get their hands on a bottle of wine that truly represents a particular grape or region. To pick up a copy, just head to Amazon.com or visit us at MamaJumboShrimp.com. Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
We've been doing this religiously, rigorously, thanks to Leica's hard work, because it is not so easy to coordinate everybody's agenda. We've been doing this for a year and a half without missing a beat, meaning weeks, and we have come to 86 in terms of number of episodes. And believe it or not, these are one of the more popular episodes because I guess our audience is quite geeky. Because, listening to an hour of this deep dive into conversation about wine and winemaking and wine people, I didn't think it would work at first, but I think I'm very pleased with it. I hope you are too. And I suppose let's get on to the show today. And today our mod... her name is Andrea Eby. We all know and love her. I just saw Andrea. Ciao, Andrea. How are you, Andrea?
I'm well, thank you.
Where are you now?
I'm in London right now.
So, what is going on? You're between London and Canada?
Between London and Canada. Mostly because right now I'm doing a lot of studying for my Master's of Wine exam, so I'm here in London for the next couple of weeks judging at International Wine Challenge and at Decanter, so getting lots of tasting experience.
So what is the main difference between Decanter and International Wine Challenge? And you judged also at 5 stars recently. What are the differences?
I would say like at International Wine Challenge, it's a very sort of like kind of casual atmosphere, and the fact that they don't give you chairs.
What?
Yeah, you have to. It's an active judging experience because you stand for the entire day.
Holy shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And how many grueling hours do you have to stand?
Yeah, you do like 3 hours in the morning and then have lunch and then another 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon. So yeah.
All standing?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. I need a TikTok of that. That's pretty funny.
I'll try and take some video for you. But it's great because you kind of work with each day you're kind of put with a new sort of team of people. And so it's great for kind of, keeping up in connections and meeting new people. You get lots of chance to chat with one another, and it's kind of very collaborative judging process.
Right.
And it's also like, you can go from like, I remember last year I had like a flight of 8 Argentinian Malbecs followed by 8 Swedish Soleras, right? So it's like,
oh my goodness, Swedish Soleras. I think I've tasted once in Paris like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so it's really kind of neat that way because you never know where you're going to end up.
Well, you're not going to, there's no chance in hell you'll get Solera for your MW. I'm pretty sure about that.
Probably not, but it does keep your mind open about the possibilities.
Right.
What could this be? And then Decanter, it's a little more sort of like sort of regimented in the sense that you're assigned to particular areas. So generally I spent quite a bit of time in Italy there. So this week I've got, Valpolicella one day, and
Yeah, because it's a large competition.
yes, so you really have a lot of wines in each of these kind of categories. And then I also have, I think on the Friday, one day judging Canada, which is nice too. So yeah, it's there, and there you're doing, you each have your own computer, and you're kind of doing your own notes before you have a discussion. And yeah, it's just different systems, but I think they each have their their benefits, and none of them have the enologist perspective like Five Star does. So that's something that
Yeah, that's interesting perspective.
definitely some color to the conversations for sure. So yeah.
And how many wines are you tasting a day? This is all like intel that I need to bring home.
Say it's usually flights of like 10 or so. I'm just trying to think back to Decanter, and you're probably, yeah, it's probably like 90 wines a day.
Yeah, so you're doing some serious heavy lifting there. Yeah.
Yeah, my teeth by Friday are definitely telling me that's enough.
Yeah, you've had enough. All right. Getting back to the show, I was just very curious. Of course, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Andrea Eby is the Italian programs director at the Wine Scholar Guild. And initially, I was always making fun of her, saying, "Oh, you went to our competition," but in reality, we have tons of VIA candidates coming through the Wine Scholar Guild program, and I think it is a very good preparation, a stepping stone to Vinitaly International Academy. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, no, I definitely think, talking to students that have gone through the scholar program, they've, said to me just how much of a benefit it was to have that kind of foundation before they went into the VIA courses. So I think they're quite complementary to one another. We kind of approach things from different angles, in terms of Italian wine, and I think, it's always good to kind of learn in that sort of 360 perspective. So any way that you can kind of get at the knowledge from a different angle, I think is always a benefit. So yeah, I like to think that we're helping each other out now.
Okay. So, Andrea, when is your exam with the MW? Is it in June or something?
Yes, it's like the 6th to the 9th of June.
Listen, so you're only going for you've passed the theory?
I passed theory last year.
Yeah, so you're only going for the practical. So, mi raccomando, Andrea. Okay? And when you're done with the damn MW, you have to come back and become an expert, at least. Okay?
Focus on something else.
Yeah, great. All right. And Andrea, so listen, let's go onto the show now. Today you are interviewing Diletta Tonello. Why did you choose Diletta?
Well, so many reasons, but I think one of the foremost is that she's such not only women in our profession, in our industry, but I think also to like a younger generation in the industry, because she has gone through the sort of educational system of winemaking and that sort of thing, and then had some great experiences in Italy and abroad, and has gone back to her family's winery and kind of taken over the reins there and done some fabulous things at the winery, but then also, thought, hey, let's become the president of the consortio as well. And so, she's really inspirational in her kind of vision for the Lacini area, and, the potential of the Durala grape. And so, from that professional perspective, I think she has a lot to offer. And I have to confess, we've been friends for about 10 or 11 years now, I guess, since we both worked for the Tolani family for a short time when she was doing a stage there in Chianti Classico. So we've known each other for quite a while, and I've just come to really respect everything that she stands for.
Oh, great. How old is she?
How old are you, Diletta?
Diletta. I know How old are you, Diletta?
22 plus 10.
Ah, okay. I was like 22. Shit, you're really little. I could be your mother. Okay, all right. Yeah, happy birthday. I'm really excited to listen on to your conversation, because Durello is a very, very difficult wine to push. It's so high in acidity. I think it's the most acidic bollicine, that's for sure. So listen, getting back to Andrea for 1 nanosecond, what are the learning objectives we should expect from your call today with Diletta?
Yeah, so I hope that by the time we're done chatting, that everybody maybe has a little bit of a better understanding of maybe the versatility of the Durella grape and kind of the range of wine styles that it's capable of making. I would like people to maybe understand some of the challenges that producers like Diletta face when you're making traditional method wines from sort of varieties outside of those classics like Chardonnay and Pinot Nero, not just in terms of like kind of consumer awareness for these different kinds of sparkling wines, but also, is Durello quite difficult to work with in the winery, that sort of thing. And then also to learn a little bit more about the terroir of the Licini area and just kind of understand that part of the country a little bit more.
Okay, great. By the way, side note, Slavek Kominsky writes on the chat, hello, I'm the one of the example Vinitaly International Academy through Scholar Program with Andrea. So there you go. Testimonial live. Okay. Listen, Andrea, I am going to leave you now, and shut up, which, as you know, never happens. So I'm giving the mic over to you, and then I'll come back to see if there are any questions if we have any time. Okay?
Sure. Okay, so I'm just going to start by just introducing Diletta, tell you a little bit about her, and then we'll start chatting a little bit. So Diletta graduated as an agricultural expert at the Trentin Agricultural Institute in Longino, and then went on to university, which led her to become a doctor of viticultural and analytical sciences and technologies at the University of Padua. And after a series of experiences in Italy and abroad, she officially joined her family company, Vinitaly Tonello, in 2014. In 2022, she took over the role of president of the Consorzio Tutela Vini Lecini Dorello, and her mission is to communicate to the world the importance of the region's vines and territory, as well as to promote all the efforts of Lecini Dorello's companies and sellers. So lots of accomplishments. Accomplishments already, and as you heard, only turning 32 tomorrow. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds for the Lecini area under the leadership of Diletta. So welcome, Diletta.
Hi, here you go.
So, is there anything else that you wanted to tell our listeners about yourself, or kind of what you're?
Yep. First of all, thank you guys. Thank you, Andrea, for choosing me, and it's an honor also because we are a good friends, and since Tolaini experienced a lot of things change, but I think the value are the same or something like that. I just want to say that probably I am a really volcanic woman as my terroir. So people call me a Vulcan woman because I have a lot of energy and I want to use that energy for talk about this area, which is very important for me.
Okay, excellent. So, what made you decide to kind of follow in your parents' footsteps and go the route of becoming a viticulturalist and winemaker?
Oh, just first of all, because it was that favorite. And yeah, since I was a child, it always took me everywhere, and I think it was inevitable for me to follow in his footsteps, but with my style.
Okay.
So when they ask you when you was a child, when you ask what you do, what you do in the future, what will be your job, and I always answer, I want to do all the jobs in the world. So, so taking care of the family business has been an opportunity for me, course to experiment, learn, express myself, and do the most complete job in the world, the
Okay.
winemaker. So
Okay.
I think that is the reason why I follow my dad.
Okay. And what have been sort of some of the biggest sort of changes you've implemented in the family business since you started to kind of take things over?
Like, well, what is changed?
Yeah,
You
like
mean?
what have you changed, say, in the vineyards or in the winery that is maybe a bit of a departure from what your father was doing?
We actually starting to change a lot actually since the vineyards because we start in our organic viticulture, and it takes a lot for my dad, not because he don't trust in it, but he didn't expect that he can made it, he can do it, in the right way. So I give to him 3 4 years to try without the bureaucracy, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And after that, since 3 years ago, something like that, we start the bureaucracy. So we are actually now organic winery since this April. So yeah, since this year.
Wow.
And I change a lot of stuff also in the cellar because luckily I did a few experience outside the family business, so I learned how to organize the winery, how to organize the work, how to organize people, and also to do experiments. So I changed a lot of stuff in the winemaking, and I changed the labels and the marketing and stuff like that. So yeah, I make this winery, I think, a little bit much more complete. But it's not just by me. Probably I'm a lucky person. I know a lot of person, so a lot of people. Sorry, and a lot of friend of mine helped me to do this changing. During these years. So I think this is also thankful to my friends, to my winemaker friends.
Okay. And why would you like, or what would you like people that are listening today to kind of learn about Dorella as a grape variety? Why do you believe so much in Dorella?
Oh, that's a good question. Because it's a unique variety. It's actually an indigenous variety. So, and a variety that was always grown in this area. We are between Vicenza and Verona provinces. So it's mostly a hill area. uh, these areas come from a volcanic eruption 50 million years ago, so it's a aged volcanic soil. Very interesting, actually. But this variety is really unique because it's a variety that is looking to the future. These are the acidity that is the characteristic of this variety um, makes wine that are good in the years, and with this um, climate change, the grapes are much more mature, but the acidity is still very high. And one thing that I always said, that this variety in the years is getting younger and not older. The wine is, you feel the wine much more younger than, you know, in the years of aging than older. You
Okay.
expect it older. So I think it's really particular variety, amazing for making sparkling wines. So is our Italian variety for made a good Champenoise Metto, for example.
What is the kind of like typical, say, like pH or
Oh,
acidity levels when you harvest it?
in a normal year like 2021, like you got good temperature and good rain. We had one of the best, for my opinion, of course, vintages ever for sparkling wines, and we had 10 or 12 of
Wow.
acidity, and the pH is always around 2.90, 2.85,
Okay.
sometimes 3.02, but never, never much more.
Okay.
So usually you don't have the malolactic done.
Right.
But
Okay.
if the producer have the style that prefer to do a partial malolactic or the complete malolactic of the base wine, is a style of the winemaker. But usually we don't have malolactic done in our base wine. Last year, with that crazy, crazy, crazy vintage that we have no rain, no rain during the winter. and the autumn. So we have that problem because it's normal that during the summer you don't have too much rain. Very hot summer. So we had acidity around 8 and 9. The pH was good as well, a little bit high, but not too much. In some places that are east exposition, of the hill, we got much more acidity, but not too much, not more than 10. So what was weird. And another weird thing is that we picked up the base wine at the start of September. We
Wow.
usually pick up the grape from the middle of September to the middle of October for the base wine, for the sparkling wine. So that is yeah,
Yeah, big change. Big
yeah.
change. And what is the weather looked like for you this year in terms of the winter? It's been quite dry again, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's crazy because you can understand a vintage before you pick up the grapes because you know you start the year, oh, this will be a bad year, and after that, and you pick up the grapes, you go, wow, very nice, blah blah blah. So it's weird. We had a very wet autumn and winter, which is crazy, and we was really scary about it. We had the guard lake with a level that I don't know when was the last time that we saw a level so the level of the lake or the level of the sea in Venice was crazy, like
Okay.
no water at all. So it was crazy, really. But we have a very weird spring. It starts
Okay.
very hot, very warm mostly. But now it's a little bit much more cool and wet because we have rain. We will have rain tomorrow also, and a few weeks of rain. So hopefully we will have a little bit of rain back, and I
Good.
hope so actually.
Good. Good. What are some of the challenges of growing Durala? Is it different than other grape varieties in terms of like viticulturally? Are there things you need to do differently with Durala or
Yeah, it's a very generous variety,
okay.
very vigorous. The 70, I can say probably 80, 70, 80% of the viticultural, so in the way to grow up the vines, is as a pergola veronese, which is the technique to grow the vineyards very high, far from the soil, from far from the humidity, of course, but also because this variety is really generous, as I said. So it makes a lot of leaves, it makes a lot of production. So with this kind of with the pergola, is very good for the expression of the variety. But you have to be careful because you don't have to produce too much, and and also you don't have to make a little production. So it's very important to balance the plant, but it's a very strong variety. Durella names is come from Duracina, which means um, grapes with hard skin.
Oh, you're
Um,
cutting out a little bit, Diletta. Are you
oh
there?
yes, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yeah,
hear you
I know
now.
I lost. Okay, sorry. Probably the connection is a little bit weird. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, you were saying it means like hard grape with a hard skin.
Yeah, the name of Durella comes from Duracina, which means grapes with hard skin. Acino, kombucha, dura, and also for for the hard wine, hard acidity, very high acidity wine that it's come from these grapes. So the names talk a lot about this variety. The plant is very strong also between the diseases. So it's actually mostly easy to growing up, but you have to be careful about the humidity because the grapes is very compact. You have to be careful to do not burn the grapes as a grape for base wine for sparkling wine. So you mostly have to do the work of making grapes for base wine, so like the Chardonnay or the Pinots for the sparkling wines mostly.
Okay. And do you grow the Dorella that you use for your still wines? Is it coming from the pergola as well? And you're picking it a little bit later, or how do you make that distinction?
Oh yeah, they are the grapes are come from a Paraguay as well, but it's a different vineyard. Very that yeah, is a little bit older than the others and makes less quantity of grapes. Also because the clone of the Durella that I use for the still, so for the white wine, is actually a clone that makes small grapes, don't make too much production. Also because we pruning very short,
Okay.
um, and yeah, we do different stuff for that vineyard to the vineyard that we use for the sparkling wines.
Okay. I'm sure there'll be questions about that later because, yeah, most of our listeners love to hear about clones and that sort of thing. So if any of you have questions about that, just jot those down and we can try to get to some of those questions later.
Yeah.
Um, so why have you decided, and I'm just looking at this from kind of an outside perspective. I did start importing Diletta's wines into Manitoba, oh, probably about how long ago, Diletta? 7 years ago or so.
Mostly
And
something like that.
yeah. And you know, I recognized that there was a really great quality in the sparkling wines that you were making, but there was also really great quality in the still wines that you're making from Dorella and from Garganega.
Yeah.
So, what is the kind of split in the
Thank you.
winery in terms of the still wines and the sparkling wines?
You mean, sorry, I lost the question.
Sorry, what is
No, no.
the percentage? Like, how much of your production is going into sparkling wines
Oh
and
yeah.
how much is going into still wines?
We actually are now making mostly the 70% of the production as a sparkling wine. Champagne was method mostly, or I can say sparkling wine with the second fermentation in the bottle.
Okay,
So we have a little part that we make called fondo or ancestrale or pet nut,
right.
a small part. A big part of champagne was method, and the 30% of the production is white wines. A
Okay,
tiny, tiny, tiny production of red wines within international variety that, but we sell it here close to the winery to
okay,
directly to the consumers. But yeah,
okay. And why do you think that? Sorry, there's an ambulance going by. Why do you
that's all right.
why do you think that Dorella is so well suited to those traditional method wines?
Oh,
Just the acidity and the and its ability to kind of
but I always say that if you don't do the traditional method with this variety, it's like you own a Ferrari and you drive it slowly. You gotta an Italian indigenous variety that is federal to make excellent traditional method for the acidity, pH level, late harvest, and one of the important things for us, and I say not for only for me and my winery, but all the producer, is that we actually pick up the grapes close to the maturation. Okay, too
okay,
close to the complete maturation. Sorry. So we get acidity, but also the maturation. So mostly mature grapes, which means having sparkling wine much more mature with good bodies, and actually at the end are much more interested because you feel something more, I think.
okay. And what can you tell the listeners just a little bit about like the different traditional method wines that you make? Because you do have several kind of different wines in your portfolio that are
Yeah.
aged on the.
Yeah, but about the traditional medal, I made three cuvées.
Okay,
The third one is going out last year, but the first two we always made it. My dad started in 2000 to make the Champagne was method, but in the past he used to make only the three a wine that stayed 3 years with the lease, no more. He degorged all the bottles. He never ever keep apart 10 bottles, you know. was crazy about it because that we can learn if you don't taste something old. But it was different, different way to think about it.
Right.
And when I arrived in 2014, we start to make the resale wine as a 5 year with the lease. So we mostly have a wine that the younger one is minimum 3 year with the lease and it's 30, and the oldest one is Aura, which is 16 months, so 5 years with the lease.
Okay.
And the middle one, but the new ones is Ulysses, which is 4 years with release. But the difference between these three sparkling wine is the cuvee, because I'm actually lucky because I have the vineyards located in different places, different exposition, different meter of the level from meter from the sea level. I got different influence of the soil, and so I can do different blends. So 30, which is the youngest one, is a blend of the vineyards that we have in the valley, so down in the valley, and the vineyard that we have in the hills. Aura is only free run juice.
Yeah.
So comes from the hills part. So three different expositions, so three different vineyards, but only from the hills. And the Ulysses is come from just a vineyard that is up in the hills. The hills are where I grow my vineyards are around 200, 300, not too high.
Okay. And does the Ulysses have see a little time on oak?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
The difference between the other two is that Ulysses is come from experiments. That's why it takes that name. Because for me, Ulysses, it means it's my enological trip
Okay.
where I changed my mind so many times. I did this experiment in 2017, and I used the oak, the French oak, is old barrique that I used so many times. And that year I used it for ferment and age the base wine. So the blend is like that. The 20% of the base wine did the fermentation, the aging in this barrique, used barrique, and the 80% is just stainless steel tank. And I blend it, and I do the second fermentation. The wine did 4 years with the lees, and I degorged it and fill it with the same wine. So it's a pas dosé, so zero dosage.
Okay.
Um, the wine was crazy because like I didn't expect that really. The wood give up the variety, uh, an unexpected elegance. Durel is not a aromatic variety, so it's very. You have to be careful to use the wood, because if you use too much wood or oak, sorry, you have too much the oak smell,
Right.
and also in demand. So you got not, you know, it's not it's not elegant, but
Right.
with this percentage was amazing, and it gives the elegance to this sparkling wine, which is I didn't expect. So yeah, I will
Okay.
make it again.
Well, and we must mention Ulysses because he is your assistant
It is
in
my
all things.
cat.
Ulysses is her cat, who, if you follow
Yeah, yeah.
Diletta on Instagram, you will always see pictures of Ulysses. He is never far from her side. So,
He's much more famous than me.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, everybody
Um,
knows him.
yeah. And speaking of your labels and Ulysses label, so can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to rebrand and maybe a little bit about your labels? Because I do think they're beautiful labels and they really do tell a story. And I know we can't see the labels right now, but I think even if you just share a little bit about your kind of thinking behind them, it would be interesting for people.
Yeah, yeah. But on the website you can see the label. So for because we are talking now about it, and I want to see that to show to people if they want to on the vinitonello.com website, you can see all the picture of the labels, so understand why I did and I use their names. But first of all, when I take care of the family business in 2014, my dad produced so many different kind of wines. Um, Mostly come from the local varieties, but there was a confusion. People don't know what actually Tonello was famous for. Oh, Tonello wine, what they do, like what they make. it was a little bit of confusion about it. So the first 3 or 4 years, I travel a lot for finding reporters, new customers, and stuff like that. So it was just me that did that trip. My dad is looking for the vineyard, so he don't care about travel and do this fair or speed tasting, wine tasting, stuff like that. So in 2018, or actually 17, I just start from 2017. I decided to give my style because at the end we see that the winery take my face. You know, I
Yeah.
became the brand ambassador, something like that. And my dad loved to leave me everything, so he say, "Okay, do whatever."
Okay.
Do whatever, and we start to think about what we want to represent. And I am a little bit bored. I was bored about the traditional labels. I love art a lot, and I always remember something. Like not only the label, but if I like the I don't know the I remember I remember the Imagines. In my mind is full of Imagines, if I can say that. I love labels that are weird and people probably don't like it, but they remember it because they're weird. And if they like the wine in it, they remember it. So that's what I thought. So at the end, I we want to we have four main wines that are they was our main production. So there was our two sparkling wines and two white wines come from the Durella and the Garganega, two only made from local varieties. So we decide to trust 100% of our marketing phase, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to the local varieties. So we we made these four. We start with these four wines, four as the four elements of the nature. So
Italian Wine Podcast. If you think you love wine as much as we do, then give us a like and a follow anywhere you get your pods.
water, wind, soil, and sun. And when we thought about what name we will do, we will give this wine because people remember much more the wines when they have their own names. And I do a research it in Greek mythology. That is another one of my passions, and we find this name from the name of the nymph of Teti, the nymph of the water. Aura, the wind. Chloe was the nymph of the shell, and Eos was the nymph of the sun. And it's crazy because I love their names. Our female names, and I am a woman, and I am a woman maker. And
Oh,
I was so hungry about people don't
sorry,
trust that I was a winemaker. So I want the female names because people want to know there is a in the bottle. And
Diletta.
that's what we did. Yeah,
Sorry, it's just kind of cutting out a little bit there again. So I'll just give it a second to kind of maybe settle down.
yeah. And I think you have to stop me because when I started, you have
Yeah, no, it's
to
just
stop me.
maybe it's a little windy or something, and the reception was just a little broken up there. So well, hopefully it
Yeah.
improves.
What did you lost?
No, I think it's okay. We understood that you named them after the nymphs and the four different names, and I encourage
Yeah.
everybody to check them out on the website because I think they also incorporate a lot of your personality into the actual art that is used on them as well. Maybe we
Yeah.
can talk for a few minutes before we get to questions. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you kind of came to become the president of the consortium and what your experience has been in that position.
Oh, it was weird because it was the first time for our consortium, but a lot of consortium have this. I can say problem for as a
Oh,
one of the smallest winery in the denomination to represent the consortium. And it's crazy how much collects, so wineries will have. And I think this shows how much this denomination is made from people who believe in this variety and in this area. And we are different producers, but a very unique group. So it doesn't matter how big or how cooperative is a winery, but because we are really unique, we speak the same language about our varieties, and we actually love it so much because probably we are all volcanic people. So we know that if we work together, we can do we can do better. So it was weird. I do have a lot of energy, but I'm not a politician person. So at the start, I say, okay, guys, I can do it, but I'm young and I don't know everything about politics stuff. So you have to teach me, and I will learn. So what I say, okay, I'm a young, I have the energy of a young person, but I don't have the experience. So I took the experience from all the old guy that we have in our group, or all the of my mentors, stuff like that. So I'm starting to learning about it a little bit, and I hope it worked for the denomination, because to show that there is a young ideas about that wines and the way that we communicate this variety, this wine, I think it will be good for being much more famous and also much more known,
Right.
if I can say that
What are the
again.
challenges? What do you find are the challenges for Dorello wines in the market?
For my opinion, the biggest challenges is that growing the production numbers, to have the possibility to of being able to reach many markets, but I'm not talking about a lot, but a few million more, because now we're made actually a million bottle of sparkling wine as a denomination, and I think a few million more will be much more helpful for be much more known. But for me, even more important is that being recognized as a sparkling wines, Italian sparkling wines. When you think about the Italian sparkling wines, I want that the wine lovers think about our denomination. That's it's my challenge.
Okay. And what are people's sort of reaction to the sparkling wine when they try it for the first time? Like when you're traveling in your role as winemaker or as president, and you introduce people to those sparkling wines for the first time, what
Yeah,
kind of comments do people have?
they actually say, "Oh my God, he's still young," or it tastes different, because
Okay.
when you think about mostly traditional method or champenoise method, you think about tasting wines comes from mostly Chardonnay or Pinot Noir, and when you taste Durella, it's a different taste because it's a different variety. So it's not supposed to taste like the Chardonnay and the Pinot Noir. It's a different taste, very intriguing for my opinion, and very interesting, and I think people feel this difference, and they love how the wine is it tastes young in the years of aging.
When it does age, like what kind of flavors does it develop? Does it get any of those kind of like smoky, flinty kind of Riesling like notes, or how does it develop in terms of aromas and flavors?
Aromas, oh yeah, it's really close to the Riesling smell, because during the aging, I think the soil aromas, if I can say that, come out,
Okay.
because when you work in a volcanic soil, you have wine that are not ready the first 2 years, okay, after the vintage. You must wait, but it's a soil that is very good for longevity, and in the years, also for the white wines, also for white variety, is very good for have the hydrocarburic smell of the
Okay.
volcanic soil, for my opinion. And for the Durella variety, I can say that it's much more balanced. The acidity, it became a cream in the mouth.
Uh,
So for the aromas, I can say that goes out the volcanic soil aromas. For the mouth, I can say that the acidity of the variety, it's much more creamy and I can say comfortable because
okay.
at the start it's really hard and really hard to drink also.
Okay.
Really
Okay.
strong.
So I know probably Stevie will come on in a few minutes. Just wondering if there's any questions, but I did want to ask you, what's kind of next for you in terms of the consortio, and also in terms of you at Tonello. Is there, what's new and exciting for both of those things?
Oh yeah, I think the target is the same. Like I want to conquer the world. I want to build good collaboration with importers, crazy like me, that who believe in me and in my wines. And it's the same for the consortium because I want to find the ambassadors around Italy and around the world that trust in this variety, that trust in this producer, and that start to talking about it because they feel the difference, they feel the soul of this variety and this kind of area, wine area. So I think is my rule at the end is to communicate this variety,
Okay.
this to communicate this denomination. So I want to that people know much more, and we start actually with WSET a few years ago, but because we did in Soave a few lessons about Lessini Durello during the WSET lessons, if I can say that.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Good.
starting like that, with incoming and with world trip with our wines and taking our volcanic rocks with us and let the people smell it and smell the hydrocarburic smell of the rocks and feel
Yeah.
it and smell it also in the wines. I think is very important.
Well, you definitely in the audience, you have some great wine educators I can see from, many places around the world. So I encourage any of them to reach out to you and, if they are interested in, giving their students more information about Lissini and about Doralo, I know that you're definitely there as a resource for them. So we'll make sure that we help them out if they're trying to get in touch with you for sure.
Okay, I am 100% available for questions and materials and stuff like that. We got
Okay.
everything.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop talking now, which is hard for me to do as well. But thank you so much for chatting with me. I'm going to turn things back over to Stevie so she can moderate some questions.
Very
All
much.
right.
I'm happy that you ask me questions, and I'm happy that we are friends actually.
Oh, me too. Me too. I see that there is a question from Jamie here.
Yep.
Um, Jamie from Paris. Love Jamie. He's got a great question. He says, "Does climate change look like it's an advantage for your appellation?" So, we don't like to talk about climate change being an advantage, I think, but there are certain areas that probably will find it much easier to kind of cope with those changes. So
Yeah.
do you want to respond to Jamie's question there?
Yeah, actually, it's a great question, and thank you, Jamie. Because this climate change is actually advantage our variety. Because our, my grandfather remember an acidity higher and higher than now, mostly around 15, 14, and not mature grapes because in the past they have a very different summers, and because it's a late variety, it wasn't mature a lot. So it was very unmature variety and very acid and undrinkable, really. But in these years, the climate change is helping us to having, as I said, much more mature grapes, close to the good a good maturation. And but for this characteristic of the variety, we still have a good acidity. I prefer to have in 10 and 12 like 2021. I hate last year really much. But yeah, we can sleep well with the climate change.
Okay, good. All right. Stevie, did you have
Yeah, I always have questions. So, yeah. So, Diletta, I want to ask you some questions regarding your role at the consortium. Okay. So, first of all, can you tell us, let our audience understand the size and the volume of the consortium as a general? So, how many producers do you represent, and how many bottles do you produce, and how many producers do both Metodo Classico or just Charmant? Like, can you give us just a very brief overview?
Of course, of course. As I said, we are between the Vicenza Verona province, and we are in four valley: Val d'Alpone, which is in Verona province, and three valley in Vicenza: Val del Chiampo, Val dell'Agno, e Valleugra. In total, uh, we got 400 hectares of Durella
Mm-hmm.
that can be DOC, but actually the denomination, so under the DOC, the producer made a million, mostly a little bit more than a million, but not too much, a million bottle of sparkling wine. And the 70% for now, in the last years, these are data about last years. 70% of the production is Charmat method. That 30% of the production is traditional methods or Champenoise method. Um, um, but we saw that in the last 4 years, the production of the traditional method is increased very fast, faster than the 10 years ago. So I think the winemaker are investing a lot with the Champenoise method because it costs a lot because you have to keep a lot of bottles for many years. And the denomination is mostly characterized by vignerons or winemakers that they have not too much money to invest in the Champenoise method. That's why it takes a lot, for my opinion.
And what are you personally producing mostly?
I'm sorry?
Are you producing mostly traditional method?
Yeah, I actually produce 30,000 bottles per year as a small winery. So, yeah, it's not too much.
So, how do you reconcile the challenges? Because on the one hand, how many producers are there?
We have 35.
Yeah, 35
Winery,
producers
yes. Which are
producing fairly small amount of wines. And where are they distributed mostly? Mostly locally, right? In the territory. Like,
mostly locally, yeah. They started a little bit much more in Italy. There are
hmm
a few wineries distributed by a very a big distributor in Italy, and a few of that are exports. The Lessini Durello sparkling wine also because a lot of producers are also made Soave or Valpolicella, so they have customers that already works good with the much more famous brand, much more famous denominations,
hmm
and they also buy some sparkling from Lessini Durello. But I think for increase the number, we need like that. Not only the producer of this area trust in this variety, but also the producer of Verona and Vicenza, the trust in this area, and the famous denomination probably can help us to work together. I can make an example. In the last 2 years, we collaborate a lot with the Valpolicella Consortium during the Opera Prima event present the Amarone. during the dinner gala, we offer our sparkling wines on aperitivo for starting, the night. And this collaboration is very helpful because they invite a lot of wine speakers, wine importers, journalists, and people like that. So for us, it's very important to be close to the Valpolicella, for example. Or the swap as well. So I think this will be helpful for increase the number, but it takes time.
Yeah, so it's kind of a 20 it's kind of a catch 22, right? Because on the one hand, you have small number of bottles. You want to go more international, if you will.
Yeah,
But because you have such small number of bottles, it's you can't really create the demand
yeah,
and create the market,
I
right?
completely agree. Yeah, that's why I want that the production is increased as a 2 or 3 million more. But it
Mm-hmm.
takes time if you think about the traditional method, of course. The Charmat is much more easy, but not too much because all the producers that made the Charmat, they do minimum 3, 6, or 12 months of second fermentation in the tank. So it's not too, you know, easy also for a Charmat because it takes a little bit of time also for the Charmat, not only for the Champenoise method. But I think that's why you say that is a variety for the future. Because I think in the future, a lot of small or particular importers are starting to looking for the Durella and starting to sell it in a good restaurants and good level restaurants, not only in Italy but also in the mm, much more famous cities. For I can say,
So when, let's say, not an Italian wine expert necessarily, but if a wine lover, Italian wine lover, they ask you,
yeah,
what is the difference between Durello,
yeah.
Franciacorta, Trento Doc, and Prosecco? Where does Durello belong? Is it more to Prosecco, or is it more to Franciacorta, or is it the cousin of Trento Doc? Like, how would you position Durello amongst the sparkling wines of northern Italy?
No cousins. I think this variety is really unique. Probably it's close to the Trento, but just because Trento have the freshness of the mountains, and
Mm-hmm.
we are in an area that is under the Dolomites mountains, so we have the freshness in our area. But we do have a lot of good characteristic for be really unique because the Glera is I can say completely different variety. Just the color of the grapes are probably is the same. For Franciacorta is completely different area. We have mostly hills or valley that are really full of water, good wind that's coming through, and for the volcanic soil is really particular, and so we do have freshness and and longevity. So these are our characteristics.
Okay. I think we do have one more question.
Yeah, the family was asked usually age their sparkling wines a long time on the lees. But I think Diletta kind of answered that most of the production is still Charmat, um, but it's slowly growing in terms of the people that are aging
Yeah,
the bottle.
yeah. People are starting to aging the bottles as a traditional method. And usually, and I can say the 90% of the wineries that made the traditional methods have the youngest one that is 3 years with the lease. But a few wineries are made in 2 years with the lease or something like that, 24 months, because they are not using the millesium. So they blend with older vintages,
Okay.
as a champagne style, if I can say that. And so the wine results much more mature after 2 years. But yeah, are 3 or 2 years minimum, no less than 2 years. as a traditional method. For the Charmat, it's very interesting because a lot of producers do 6 or 12 months of the second fermentation in the tank, which is really interesting and is not
Oh, that's unusual.
mm, really unusual.
Yeah. Listen, Diletta, one last question before we go, then we'll close up the room. What about the price points? How do the prices compare to Prosecco and Franciacorta in Trento Doc, for example?
You asked me about the wine shop in Italy.
Yeah, wine shops, yeah.
Wine shop in Italy. Okay. As a Charmat, you find it around 8 to 12 euros.
Mm-hmm.
From the classic method, so traditional method, sorry, because we mostly start from 3 years with the lease. 3 years with the lease are mostly around 20, 24 euros.
Mm-hmm.
But the 60 months are mostly around 27, 30, or 35. And much more year with the lease are around 40, 50 euros as a wines. For the white wines, which are very less production, are around 12 or 15 euros.
So, I mean, one more. I promise this is my last one. So, why would a wine lover choose Durello over Franciacorta or Trento Doc? What is the reason that you would give them? Because the price points are very similar.
I think, yeah, but I think you are never be bored about the wines if you drink it. It's really salty at the end, and you never be bored about it. And have this power to clean your mouth at the end, so you can eat a lot of stuff and have a clean mouth. So you are never be bored about the wine. And if you actually forgot in your cellar because I don't know you got so many bottles, it's not a problem because it's good after the degorgement as well. So I think that's why it's very interesting and is a good wine for for do a wine trip with the sparkling with the bubbles. I can say that I always say that there is not only a good pairing with this wine, but if you do a dinner with full of Barolo, after that drink a glass of Lessini Durello sparkling wine, and you will have a clean month for go to sleep.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, on that note, we're going to close. I'm going to thank you very much both, Andrea Eby and Diletta Tonello. Laika, can you please come back up and tell us what's up next?
So the next is going to be this Thursday. So we have Fanny.
Fanny, that French lady. We know her very well.
Yes. So she will be back, and then she's going to interview Elena Pantaleoni of La Stopa Winery.
Oh, excellent. Looking forward to that. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, people. That's it. I'm signing off. You can all go home and enjoy your evening. Ciao ragazzi, buona serata, alla prossima.
Swirl, sniff, sniff, sip, sip, and spit.
Once again, here we go.
Swirl, sniff, sip, spit.
While you drink, don't forget these tasting tips.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.